Hello and welcome to the Cafe Cast. This is our very first live stream.
Hi.
Where are the obligatory cheers I ordered?
I couldn't find the sound effect.
Much like your dignity, they flew away.
Yep.
Yeah. Save it for ever. Anyway, do you hear the Cafe Cast doing their usual shtick now, which is hating on me? So, how about having them?
We're off to a good start.
Great start.
Amazing. Absolutely great.
Fantastic. It's
Make it
fantastic.
23 of these. Would be also making it through 23 of these. Okay, whatever. Introduce yourselves. I'm gonna go
Into the corner and die.
wonder what I'm doing with my life.
So, hey guys, this is Unova Brony here, just saying how you all doing on this fine afternoon.
Fuck.
Someone's calling Skype.
Yeah.
Of
I put
course.
myself on Do Not Disturb, and still I receive a notification.
Right?
Skype always glitching up.
Yeah, darn thing.
The glitches of Skype. Arrive!
Okay. Oh, I hate doing this live.
That way you can't edit all the flaws out. Now everybody has to deal with our bullshit.
Oh no. Yeah, we can't edit any of this out if we're going live.
Yeah.
Well, granted, I don't edit out much every week, but I don't know. Nobody start making aborted baby Hitler jokes, okay?
Like,
Does that joke that you just did right now count?
Maybe, but it was a good one.
all right, we have the comments already.
Can I get a link to the live stream? I'm not really seeing it right
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll send it to him. Do you want me to send it private or within the Google?
Oh, okay. Wait, no, I just found it.
Oh, you found it? Okay, we're good. Now stop whining, you little bitch. All right. So our first comment comes from Ryan Constable. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, you actually pronounced it right.
Yeah! Hooked on phonics, you have not failed me today.
That's the first time I've
That's
ever heard
it.
anyone praise Hooked on Phonics.
What? That Hooked on phonics was my shit.
Well, you're so pretty.
Oh.
Bless your heart.
Hey,
Wait,
that's
don't
my
you-
joke.
Wait, don't you have a lot of Hook on Phonics textbooks in your room, Second?
No. What are you looking at?
It was either that or physics.
Are you talking about my background set?
Yeah.
So wait.
Either phonics or physics.
Out of
Yeah.
curiosity,
There
have
wrote
we
attention.
started yet?
Yes.
Or are
We're not.
Okay.
Yes,
We're
we are
started,
live and-
but we're not started. We've kind of just had. This is really how This is how every cast starts with just
Yeah, we are
chaos.
Yeah, we are
And
live
making
and
fun of
people are
Second.
listening. We are live and people are listening to us babble about Hooked on Phonics.
What Hooked
All
on
right,
phonics
all right.
is the shit.
Crimson likes Hooked on Phonics. Let me pretend I'm professional here and yell at you people to introduce yourselves now.
Yes.
You know, I already did that, so it's my turn, I guess. Hello, I'm Crimson Glow, your future evil overlord of all things pony. How you doing?
Hello,
Hello.
Crimson.
Aw, Crimson. Hello, everybody. I'm Calliope. I don't have a fancy intro.
We will change that soon.
Classic Calliope.
Yes.
I will help you.
Am I next? Or...
Why does that sound sinister when Crimson says it?
What doesn't
Because it's
sound
the red and
sinister
black OC.
from her?
Am I next? Or
Yes, Brad, you are next.
yo, I'm past analysis. I wish I was here last week because that was my favorite episode of the season. But I'm here this week, and I am definitely bash analysis. So you will get a lot of negativity from me this fine Saturday day.
Or Sunday, depending on where you are. Like,
Yep.
it could be Sunday for all we know.
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh my gosh,
Good.
there's
Shout out
something on
time
the
zone.
table.
Ah!
Yes, that's my turtle. Hello, interwebs. I'm Eric from TheLooneyTurtle, and Looney's sitting on the bar top today.
Cool. Can I make
Nice.
soup now?
No. I heard Toon has some, but that's some old version of Looney, so I'm all right with it.
Oh, hi Slayer. How are you?
Hello, Slayer.
Hmm.
Well, I'm looking at the chat, dude. I'm acknowledging that it exists.
Oh,
Yeah.
look, we got our first troll.
There it is. Yay! We're making progress today.
Oh, wait a minute. I know that guy.
You do?
Uh-huh. He was in he arranged my first ever podcast. We're both very embarrassed by it, but he's I think he's one step below past analysis on how good season 6 was. So
Are we saying this in a way that
I'm impressed.
he's impressed, but the other guy is not impressed, or is he slightly impressed?
I'm impressed that someone else is equally as negative as I.
probably a
No,
little
I'm not
more
talking
actually.
shit.
But
Hello, Aiden Todd, with the skulls.
yeah. Okay, we're off to a good start though. Anyway,
Then Aaron,
I guess we'll be
saying how much
exploring
he's
that
waiting.
now. But all right. So
Seriously though,
speaking
I
of
don't know
which,
why people still watch this show. Huh.
that's my Aiden. Okay, let's go around then and say what we thought of the final episode one at a time.
Alrighty.
Alrighty then. I guess I'm gonna have to start. Well, everyone else has their own particular fancies to discuss about this finale. For me, I'm probably one of the ones who probably came out of this finale with the most optimism, if you will. Like, how should I put this? The first time I reacted to this finale, I was basically so mind blown that I couldn't stop yelling for the next 5 minutes as soon as I got my chance to speak. As Second can testify to this fact.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
It was something so amazing to me as a longtime fan of this show that I was just like all on board for it. Even though I noticed some things here and there that after really talking about like some of these things I felt were wrong with it, like such as I thought in a sense like Starlight's relationship with Discord that wasn't really explored until this part. I just felt like maybe there could have been an episode before in which they could have had a connection. I don't know, say Dungeons and Discord. That could explain her absence from that episode. So, yeah, but I mean, what we had so far, even if it didn't felt as existent, it still was nice seeing like Discord being like refereed by Starlight in the middle of like the second part of that episode. But then continuing onwards, like the thing that really got me very excited in the first part of the episode was the prospect of like Luna essentially like actually helping someone aside from like the Cutie Mark Crusaders, that being Starlight. And I was like, quite interesting. Someone actually being the sister that isn't a young foal. Like, so basically Luna does help other ponies, not just young foals. But also giving like a sort of like comparisons to like her old time of like essentially being bad essentially with Starlight, and also asking her like trust your friends essentially, like actually talk to them. I think they actually have the best answers for you. Like I might not have all the answers, but those friends are probably like your best shot. And I think those were really like a cool touch there for the first part of the episode. Let's see. Aside from that, it honestly felt quite nice that it was like an even split between like guys and girls with the second half essentially like having like the hero party essentially being consisted of like former villains, former antagonists, and Dorax essentially like working together to essentially reach a common goal. Essentially, like upon which like at the end of the episode, while they did let go Chrysalis at the end, I honestly felt like this was one of the best finales that I've ever seen from the entire series. And okay. This has honestly been feeling weird ever since I started chatting. Like, no one's interjecting, no one's talking. It's weird.
Okay, yeah, okay. Time out, group. We're going to have to do a little bit of group therapy right now, psych you guys up. I know that live stream is different and that you're all tempted to be on your best behavior, but you, I promise, are at your best when you are at your worst. I want you to interrupt. I want you to interject. I want
Okay,
you
well,
to meet a high heaven. I want you
Oh boy.
to give them
Right.
everything.
So-
Second, do you understand what you're asking us to do?
I'm not saying I'll come out of this in one piece. I'm not saying you'll get there with me, but I'm
So-
saying it has to happen.
if this is one of your best, if this is one of your most favorite finales, Unova, what is your least favorite finale?
Oh, let's see. That would
Let's say season 3. Hello.
I haven't.
I was
what-
going to say.
Why are you
How do
watching
you
this
know?
then,
Please
Aiden
do
Todd?
release.
I was going to
Aiden
say.
Todd, why are you at?
Don't
Why are
argue
you
with
watching
Andrew
this?
Todd.
Have not watched MLP.
Crimson, don't argue with people in the comments section.
But it's so much fun.
And I've even displayed it now so that everybody knows what we're talking about.
You would love to. I'll give you links to articles he wrote, and you will have an intellectual discussion on at least some level or another, but you will not end anytime soon. So.
Or
Pass.
a doo-doo head.
So Unova, yeah. So what is your least favorite finale then? Because I actually said that this finale is the second worst.
I would think it's a toss-up between season 3 and season 5. It's just I still feel like that raunchy feeling from like season 5 finale still. I'm not saying like this apologizes for it or even apologizes for like the rest of season 6, because no, this finale doesn't. I am not going to be that guy, because
Okay.
it like some of the weaknesses about like how it feels like a character that's completing their arc so early is the fact that they weren't given that much material to be given with like what season 6 gave us.
Oh, believe me, I will rant my face off when it's my turn
I
to
thought you
talk.
were gonna say your rump. You start that. Just
yeah.
start already, because mine is pretty. Would probably.
Well, let Unova finish then.
Well, I meant that. That's what I meant, sucker.
Sucker.
Motherfucker.
So
Yes, we curse. I curse. I am able to curse. This is funny because I don't curse on my channel.
Yeah,
I
you
really
do pretty
don't.
much everywhere else. But,
Yes, everywhere else but my channel.
like honestly, like
Crimson around. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. Honestly, like the season 6 finale, I was quite impressed with the fact that they didn't treat the audience like kids with like exposition and such. Was actually relying on the fact that we needed information from the past in order for us to get context about these main characters they now have us following essentially. And even when they go off explaining about like what they need to do and like in the Hive excursion, it honestly feels like I can honestly see this if this was like a preteen show, you know, for like 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds, you know, possibly like, I don't know, Avatar level like of maturity that we were treated for in that finale. And that was the thing that really spoke to my heart, really spoke to my soul, that I was like, Okay. You really bored me, and you also infuriated me with one particular episode. But I'll give you a chance if you have this sort of writing for the season 7 premiere. Because where was Sis for like most of the season? I wasn't expecting that sort of writing, but if your writers are capable of this sort of writing, I expect a bit more of this.
I bet it's going to be not that different than what we've gotten, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Alexander Hamilton.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, whichever order you put the seasons in as far as how good they were, I think it is fair to say that this one was probably a different vision than we'd usually be getting. Like with, yeah, Megan McCarthy, she barely has any writing credits here. She was off writing the movie, and now that said movie is coming out, I think that there's going to be a bit more of a, instead of a push to get the season out as fast as possible, to make sure you come up with a season that hypes up the movie very well. So whether you think what happens next will be better or worse, I do think there's a good chance it'll be different.
I will say, if we're ranking seasons, this season was by far the worst. And I thought that season 5 was the lowest they could go. Oh, man, I can't wait until the 7th season.
Oh, I can't wait till you actually put out a video.
But
Burn.
But yeah, I mean, personally, well, I thought season 3 was the worst season until season 6, and between the two of them, I think it's basically a question of whether you are partial to higher highs or lows that aren't as low.
Yeah, I think. I think season 6 has not hit the lows of some other seasons, but it hasn't hit the highs of some other seasons either. I think season 6 is probably the most meh across the board.
For me, I would say that season 6 did what season 5 did, but even more so maybe, in that season 5 was a lot of highs and a lot of lows. This season, I'd say, was a lot of highs and a lot of lows and a few amount of highs. For me, it was a very dismal season, both in what they made and what they didn't make.
I mean, there was a lot of math for me, but and I guess the really low episodes, I only got a couple of those. But lows were never a huge problem for me in this show, except like maybe season 3.
Also,
even they didn't have a ton of them, so yeah.
I just want to say, I fucking called it. I said in the very beginning of this season that we would only get 4 to 3 Starlight Glimmer episodes that weren't the premiere of the finale, and guess what we got? 3. I was right.
Yay! Good job. Why don't you put that in a video? Oh wait.
You're not going to get off that, are you?
That's all you got against me.
No, I've got a few more, but it's not really kid friendly.
All right. So, okay, whose turn were we on for what you thought of the season finale?
Yeah. Last thing I want to point out before we move on to pass is
Wait, I thought Crimson was next.
Yeah.
No, I let past go with it.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Is that like the only really big thing like this season finale I felt really misstep? Severely weakened Canterlot Wedding with like the unexplainedness that is replacing every single hired authority and heroes of Equestria in such a small time gap, like probably less than a day even.
Definitely less than a day. How long did it take for them to get from the town, which still doesn't have a name, by the way?
Seriously.
From Ponyville to the towns. Really, what is the name of the town?
Our town.
Anything.
Thank you.
Literally anything would go. I don't care if it's Buttercup Blossom Power Pup. Give the damn place a name.
It's our town.
Let's all just start calling it Values Village.
But actually, not only do I think the
Or
opener
we
here
could
was
just call it Tumblr.
Okay, that works.
There. That's the name of the town. That is the canon name of the town, everyone. It's canon that is called Tumblr.
You know, because a red and black OC told you so.
Yes. You know it's true because it's on the fucking internet.
Oh dear.
See, I can make good jokes.
This is a miraculous moment.
Yes. Miraculous. Na, 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 na.
Okay, actually, going from what Unova said, though, not only do I think that the intro here with how usually the changelings took down everybody, like, not only do I think that maybe undermines a Canterlot wedding, I just think that undermines everything. Like, the episode itself is undermined by the idea that the entire series, even, that all of the people holding all the power in Equestria, just off screen in a day, they're taken down and they don't even need to explain it. I'm like, no, you're kind of, I mean, I would go so far as to call that a violation of the premise. Like, you kind of need to explain that.
I've been saying it before and I'll say it again. The royal sisters are completely fucking useless.
Make a video on it.
I did.
Make another video on it.
Maybe they do have their flaws, but if they were that easy to take down, Crimson, even you would have done it by now.
I did. You just haven't seen it yet.
See, this is the price to not getting your videos out fast enough. Believe me, I know.
Well, I'm sorry. Unlike most people, I'm busy trying to get an education.
Well,
So wait, are you saying that it's all right not to make videos? Oh, thank you.
It's okay not to make videos
If you're Crimson.
if you're too busy to.
Yeah, well.
I do feel like it was guys, I do feel like it was a good call for them not to show any of the princesses getting abducted, because I think any way he could have shown it to the audience, we would have had everybody leaping on them with plot holes and why it shouldn't work. So if it was necessary for the story, I think it was smart of them to leave it off camera. I think you can fill in some with your imagination there.
I'm with Calliope on this one. It is a giant thing that's left unexplained, and I definitely don't blame anyone for, wanting
being angry at it?
Yeah, being angry about it, wanting to have seen that. But for me, personally, I didn't really mind it. I had other beefs, but
sure. I mean, if you can't think of an actual reason that the changelings would be able to do this, then I guess, trying to make one up that isn't very good, that's probably worse than just not explaining it, just leaving us to imagine away. But I mean,
if you can imagine in a way,
convenient.
If you can imagine in a way, I bet that your chance of being angry at it is less so. Because typically people get angry at things that they think couldn't have happened, but for some reason did happen.
Well, you see, there was a box propped up with a stick. And for Celestia, there was a banana sitting there.
And she wanted to send it to the moon.
Yes, she wanted to send it to the moon so that she could confuse everyone.
I mean,
I kind of assumed that the changelings probably impersonated palace servants and then just chloroformed the princesses in their sleep.
That's dark. Think about that.
I've seen that. People have suggested stuff like that. They went incognito, or they got them in their sleep or something. I mean, I said in my review, though, I'm like...
Which I still call bullshit on.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, just any normal explanation the changelings could have had, just anything like that. People, if that's all it took to take down the princesses, then everyone would do it. There'd be... Song would be princess, Gladmane would be princess, Suri Polomare would be princess, Crimson would be princess.
Well, no. Okay.
Princess.
Hey, Big Fairy.
Seriously?
They didn't even need Chrysalis. You just have to sneak up on them in disguise and get a bunch of people
literally
together
just
to do that.
equate Suri Polomare with, being able to take down Celestia? That's
she was able to come up with a scheme that somebody didn't see coming.
Shit.
Exactly. And so a few changelings in disguise, and presumably they're splitting their army into different pieces doing this. A few changelings in disguise
The
go in
changelings have way
incognito,
more.
are enough to get past all the guards and get to Princess Celestia and overpower her and get out, and all of this completely successfully without even a hiccup. Like,
Celestia ain't that powerful. She's been demoted with each and every season.
she's held
Honestly,
the power for however many thousands of years it was. I mean, if that, like I said, if she
Is she just old? Is that the problem? Is she just old? Is that why she doesn't do shit?
My answer to why so many don't do it is that she has status. Also, I have no idea in what ridiculous fan fiction you think Surrey Polo Mare would be able to take down fucking Celestia. Like,
the same ridiculous
just throwing out
that
names.
the changelings would be able to take her down that easily.
Literally all he is doing.
I'm sorry, if the changelings are able to take her down that easy, it could happen to someone like that.
Like,
no, the changelings actually have.
Spoiled rich would be princess. It's like, I hire you, the best thieves, assassins in Equestria, to take down the princess. So that my daughter will no longer associate
all
with
your credibility.
Insignificant lowlifes.
Past, you lost all your credibility, dude.
With what?
Do I really have to repeat myself?
Yeah, you have to explain. Like, you can't just say, do I really have to repeat myself, and that's your explanation. You need...
And everyone say it!
Threatened.
I'm kind of lost it.
Out of video.
All right.
Of course.
You don't need to make a video to be qualified in anything.
Yeah.
Have you seen the people who make videos? Like, look at your videos. They're shit. Oh!
Be nice.
Okay, that was a low blow. I'm sorry.
Well, second, one thing Aww. Second.
Oh, cry me a river.
Oh, look what you did now.
Aww. Here, Crimson, have a cookie.
No.
Okay, I mean, we hit each other for a lot of things, including the lack of videos, but the quality of said videos, they're all we got, dude. They're all we got.
Wait, why is quantity of videos, a fair game, but quality ain't?
No.
Why, you want us to start attacking you for your quality too?
Because to be fair, most.
I think this is a topic for another day, but I would like to say something.
All right, the Rift Cafe Cat Smackdown coming soon. So yeah, go ahead, respond, Calliope.
Well, you were talking about, Gladmane, Missouri, whoever could be princess, but do consider that those are ponies working alone. As far as we can tell, this was a huge coordinated effort on the part of the changelings. We have no idea how many different changelings they had infiltrating each place in order to get to each princess.
Also, they had a lot better plan than they did last time, in that they told, or at least got caught in the act.
They had no plan this time. We never saw what their plan was. Just like a chrysalis pops up on a screen and says, "We thought too small last time, taking down one princess. We should have taken down the entire world." I mean, that's like...
Well, no, she said her plan. Second, she said that she was planning that the changelings she had in the place of the princess would receive the love of the ponies for the princesses, and then they would deliver the love to her.
Yeah, well, that was the end result of what she did once her...
Much sense to me.
I mean, that's like if, I don't know, World War II, the Nazis had said, how are we going to convert the whole world into carbon copies of us? Like, well, one of the generals says, well, I propose ripping through the Maginot Line in the north and invading France that way. And then Hitler says, no, that's a terrible plan. My plan is to take down all the countries. Brilliant.
We'll replace the leaders.
And they already were able to take down the main six and Celestia in a Canterlot wedding.
With a plan that involved weeks of incognito and replacing someone that people weren't prone to notice yet. They've been on high alert for a long time. I mean, it was, well...
Wait. How can you assume...
for you, but...
how can you assume that they had tons of planning in Canterlot Wedding, but
because
that
we
they
saw
didn't.
the plan unfold. Chrysalis had taken out a character who at the time was not nearly as significant
We
a
don't know
figure in
if the
Equestria and
we
had
don't know if the way that they
spent
took down the
weeks
main six was
learning-
planned, though. All we know is
Ready?
that, like, by the time that the
They
shield
took down the main
had-
six after their plan worked. They just had to.
yeah,
although-
after their planned work. So my point is that if all they needed to do in Canterlot Wedding was to outnumber the main six like they did when the main six were all together,
and to
then
absorb enough
it's-
love power from Shining Armor for a very long time. I mean, if Shining Armor hadn't been such, at least at the time, like such a Gary Stew that his love power extended beyond the power of anyone, Celestia would have taken Chrysalis down right there.
from all that I saw in Canterlot Wedding, the only person that you could really say got all that power was Chrysalis. I wouldn't really say that, like, how was she transferring it to the changelings? The way that they depicted in Canterlot Wedding was that she
wasn't transferring it to the changeling. It was big bad taking down big bad. Otherwise, Celestia probably would have tipped the scales in their favor there.
That refutes your point, though. If the changeling forces, who you just admitted didn't have the love, reinforcing them or whatnot, and they were able to, just by ganging up on the main six, defeat them, then yeah, like,
nice try, but that was the entire changeling army invading, like, just a couple guards and just the main six. After Princess Celestia and everybody around
that's all you have
already
to do.
taking them down.
I do have a question about the Canterlot Wedding episode, though.
Oh,
Digging
One
up that
question.
can of worms.
All right. If Shining Armor's shield is powered by love from Cadence, shouldn't the changelings have been able to eat the shield?
No, I think it's more like the shield itself is magic, and he's able to power it from his inner strength, which is fueled by love.
And like the Expecto Patronus charm is powered by happy thoughts and shields.
Any happy little thoughts?
Uh-huh. Christmas, sleigh bells, snow.
Watch me now. Here I go.
Whee!
Classic.
You can fly. You can fly. You
You can fly. Second, you're degrading your own credibility, says Pastor.
What? You don't have the ability to tell me that face to face or OC to OC? You just need to write it to me.
Call past when Captain America throws his mighty shield. I am.
All those who oppose his shield must yield. Is that from the 40s cereal?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Private Eye talking about Captain America. Because why not?
Because of references.
Nova, do you have any other points, or?
Not
think
on the
it's-
top of my head. So
Okay, pass. Go ahead.
So we have
Okay.
past analysis' turn.
Before I begin, can we
Oh, boy.
stop throwing me under the bus for not having videos out? Like, seriously, stop throwing me
Everybody
under the
give
bus.
past analysis. We're sorry.
Whoa.
I would not criticize you because I am horrible about getting videos out myself.
Thank you. So, I mean, overall, I'd say that the second part was much better than the first for me. The second part was entertaining, at least. I really think that Trixie she was a fun addition. I liked the banter between Discord, Trixie, like basically Trixie and anyone. Granted, didn't really like Starlight that much, but so that was
That's a different point entirely.
mainly the second part, and Trixie is what saved this finale from not being dog shit, in my opinion.
Gee,
But-
why don't you tell us how you really feel?
Yeah, I'm about to. Just, stop talking and I will. So, where to begin? Okay, first off, I hate that this episode in the beginning constantly is like hammering in this idea. I think they did it like 5 times. We're like, you have changed so much, Starlight. Why, yes, I have changed so much. Well, you have changed so much, Starlight. Like, seriously? That is the equivalent of someone not doing any of their homework for a whole year and then at the very end being like, I did everything, didn't I? No, you didn't. Oh my gosh, was that so grating, like, to listen to. The literal last episode that Starlight had before the finale was an episode where she revealed that this entire time she's been avoiding friendship lessons. Like, literally, she has been avoiding friendship anything.
Which is not true.
Yeah, I kind of felt like we needed another episode in between that one and this one in order to make it
at
stick.
least. So, like, to me, that all those scenes just are the writers trying to pat themselves on the back for doing nothing. Then all this stuff with Starlight, like, I mean, it was interesting, I suppose, but like, the stuff that they did with Starlight was the same stuff that they've been doing ever since she became reformed, which is just, again, woe is me. Woe is me. Like, I was really surprised by the level of woe is me that was in this finale. Like, tons of it. And then one of the biggest things that was hard for me to swallow was the idea that both Thorax and Discord were not targeted. Seriously? Like, Chrysalis mentioned at the end of the second part, like near the end of the second part, how much she fucking hated Thorax. Like, I'm surprised that they didn't go through as much trouble to, take him out when he like, if it wasn't for Thorax, they wouldn't have gotten anywhere. Seriously, giant. Like, to me, I think that's just absurd. I can accept that Chrysalis would get over cocky, like get very cocky in Canterlot Wedding after her plan has already succeeded and the shield has gone down. But this is like, the plan itself just has a giant like hole in it. Like, why didn't you go for
like your first plan that had a giant hole in it?
But the first plan,
it's almost like there was no plan at all, and they just hoped we wouldn't notice if they started from that point.
See, but see, the first plan, actually, there was a lot more to it. Like, if Chrysalis had just prevented Cadence and Shining Armor from, sparking their love bomb, she would have won. Like, it was a very, like, last minute, what you might call it, bit of carelessness that wound up doing the Changelings in the first, in their first debut. Whereas here, it just seems like they just decided for some reason to go after the most visible leaders. If you had the assets to take down them, I would have really tried to take down Thorax. And I mean, Discord was, I don't know if I still think they should have tried to take down Discord, but really, Thorax would be a big one. She explained why she didn't go for Starlight, which was really good. I'm glad they did that. If it was just Trixie and Starlight and maybe what?
Pass, there's something I want to interject.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like even though Chrysalis felt that Thorax was a traitor and wanted to punish him, honestly, her view about him was kind of evident in why she didn't target him immediately, as in she only expected him to be like a lowly grub, as in someone who wouldn't amount to much, but just the idea of like their descent just infuriates her. But not as a way of like as a target of like needing to be eradicated, like the taking out the princesses and the heroes of Equestria. She just honestly wanted to like punish him for essentially like dissenting her court of authority, or what she wants to do for the empire.
My thing about it was, did she even know where he was?
Yeah, I'm curious of that. Like, I know that she talked
never
down about him.
She never says that she knew where he was. All that she says is that he's a low-life son of a bitch that doesn't need to be spoken in my house, boy. You get that shit out of my house, boy!
I mean, the implication did kind of seem to be that he got away, but again, we don't get any explanation for what happened. We don't know, like, what she did to take the Princess Cadence and everyone down, and then what Thorax was doing while they were executing that. Like, how did the sequence of events unfold?
Like, flaw, and to look at him as just a merely grunt, okay, that's really, really careless. Like,
it's almost as if she was careless to begin. Okay, I'm gonna stop doing that.
Can you just stop, please?
Crimson. It's okay. You just.
We've recovered Chrysalis's plan right here. It's a crayon drawing with the words, take over everyone, take everyone back to Hive, sit here and gloat about plan and wait for next thing to happen.
Okay.
Let me say, Past, I can see your points with Discord and Thorax. With Discord, I would just assume that the changelings don't have any way to get into the chaos dimension where he lives.
That's my best guess, and so I'm not willing to.
If she's able to, if she's not able to, how did that mail pony get it there?
Yeah,
how did the mail pony get there?
Well, he seemed to have a lot of difficulty finding his way, and he got there, as near as we can tell, weeks or maybe even months late. And
he was never heard from again.
Yeah, that's also another thing. What happened to him, the poor guy?
Poor mail pony.
Yeah, but I mean, I think if they'd come after Discord, like whatever slight benefit of the doubt we could have given them for like, okay, if you just sneak up on these guys, their help would have gone right out the window. I don't see what short of their take away all magic stone could have given them any chance against Discord.
I would say that he was still an enemy that would really get in their way if he found out that they were, who they were, that they were actually changelings. Him finding out was, again, a massive bit of carelessness. And to mention, okay, so I mentioned the whole thing with her discounting the fact that he's a grunt, but in order to discount the whole idea that, well, maybe they didn't know where he was. Okay, several problems exist with that idea. First, he mentioned in the times they are changeling that he didn't want to just keep disguising himself as someone else, that he just wanted to, exist in his normal form out in the open. And secondly, when we see him in this finale, he's like, I got away. Sunburst, he told me to go get Twilight. Like, if he was in the vicinity to find out that Cadence and Shining Armor and Flurry Heart all were taken down, how is it that they didn't see him? How is it that, to me, that's just a massive plot convenience.
Well, maybe because their focus wasn't on Thorax. Their job was to replace the princess, Shining Armor, and the baby. That's where their job ends. That's where their focus is.
I think they just didn't consider Thorax to be a threat. As far as they were concerned, he was just some low-down, dirty traitor that had sunk so low that he wasn't even worth their notice.
Like, it might be
I
a
really-
similar reason to why they didn't get Starlight. They could honestly care less. Like, when Starlight gets back to town and talks to Twilight, the changeling, has no idea who Starlight is. So maybe they just didn't look too deep into the relationships that they have with other ponies.
My
Well, they
criticism.
didn't do their research very well either, considering the fact that they don't act anything like the original ponies. Like the closest we got was the Pinkie Pie one, and even then she was like, bye.
Actually, like replacement Twilight, like that was kind of interesting. How she, well, unlike everyone else who's just like smile, nod, and then laugh in your face if they think something's funny, like she was sort of at least trying to do a Twilight impression. Like tried to be nice to Starlight, and even tried to give her advice, and tried to make her feel better about Spike being rude, stuff like that. I mean, I was almost wondering, like, okay, so is this like a special change, like a higher up who actually got the job of imitating Twilight? I mean, I don't know. I almost wish they kept going with that somehow.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And one thing I really liked was they didn't just make all of the main six act odd in the same way. You could tell that each of the changelings was distinct in how they were doing their impersonation. Like the changeling who was impersonating Spike was clearly not a very good actor. The changeling who was impersonating Twilight was a better actor. The changeling who was impersonating Rarity seemed to be better compared to the changeling impersonating Applejack. They actually gave them each a little distinct, let me say, level of skill.
Hey, Calliope, can I mention one particular changeling?
Sure.
The one who did Rainbow Dash was obviously the most worst impersonator. I mean, my God, how could you mess up Rainbow? She is brash. She is dashing. She is energetic. Like, literally, no passion.
Apparently, to fool the fandom, you just need to make her say lots of douchey things and nothing more than that, really.
I mean, that's how Double Rainboom got started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking when I said that.
Really? Wow. Get out of my head now. Really, get out before it's too late.
Don't worry, I'm
Get
only
out,
stopping by for a
out.
brief visit. I didn't want to be here too long.
What are you doing in that part?
Sorry, I just took a wrong turn. I'm out.
Why would you look there?
Your mind is very cluttered. It's not easy to navigate, all right?
Is it like
It is
Labyrinth?
a nice mess. It is an organized mess.
It's like Labyrinth designed by a combination of Tom Green and H.R. Geiger.
All that's coming to mind is
I don't know
Amethyst's
either of
room.
those. Think of Amethyst's room with Pearl's organization of a mess.
Oh.
Huh.
That's an interesting
That is my-
combination.
That is how I imagine Opal's room. That's how my mind is. Like, it's an organized mess. Whereas Amethyst doesn't know where shit is and Pearl knows where everything is. It's a mess while still being everything that I need.
Yeah, so sorry to redirect us to a lovely gem show, but back to ponies.
I believe it is. Actually, past you. Still have more to say about the finale?
Yeah. So, I mean, I still think it was an oversight. I think that if it had characters more like that were lower tier, such as, Trixie was good, Starlight was good because they explained it. If there were other minor league ponies, like say, I don't know, someone from the town, perhaps, I'd be a lot a lot more willing to buy it.
I honestly thought that the town had been replaced by changelings first, and that was like the fake letter. That, like, it really was a fake letter. Wouldn't that have been interesting?
Oh, that is an interesting idea.
You know what I mean? Because it was like the way they were pushing in was like,
I feel like that would just open up my issue more, because if they have the cojones to go after this no-name town, literally, it's a no-name town, then why don't they go after this traitor? Like, I don't see why you'd go after the no-name town, but you wouldn't go after the traitor.
I think I'm starting to see where you're getting with that traitor line. Like just removing any sort of voice that could inform the any pony about the happenings of the hive. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the easier explanation for me is not that they didn't consider him important, but that they didn't know where he was. Like, if invading the Crystal Empire, I wouldn't have been surprised if they, had no indication that he'd be there as opposed to anywhere else.
I don't think that works though. They may have not known where he was at first, but if they were impersonating the entire royal family, they had to have done reconnaissance first.
Which they didn't do
Again, we
very
don't know
well.
what their plan was, like if just impersonating.
I just realized. Does that mean that Prince Blueblood was also there?
See, my whole thing is that I don't get the he can see you, but you can't see him thing. That to me really seems convenient.
I mean,
he's able to see that they took down, the royal family, but they're not able to see that he sees them.
To be fair, I'm going back and forth on this, but the implication did seem to be that he got out right as the takeover started, but whatever unfolded there.
I just think that's convenient.
Well, I mean, to me, it's less convenient than just saying that the Changeling can take down literally all the major powers in Equestria just by their usual routine and just the army. Okay. All right.
So, okay, there was that point. And then, I mean, my other criticisms, I think, are a lot more minor. So, like I mentioned, the whole thing with the woe is me, the fact that they're acting like Starlight has had so much happen to her. And then this, I think, oversight on the part of the Changelings. My other beasts are, let's see, like, one is the fact that the Changelings almost in unison decide to do what Thorax did. Like, I can understand Thorax sharing it, but the other Changelings, that seems a little bit harder to believe.
Especially since the whole thing about them acting so vile towards each other, even though they're just it's like how can you get rid of all that rottenness all of a sudden, or even if those changelings even came back to the hive, there's still the fact that Discord and the gang disappeared from Twilight's kingdom and disappeared in front of the changelings kingdom. So what does that mean for the changelings that are disguised as the other ponies? Does that mean Chrysalis still has an army still waiting that hasn't really been changed? It's there is a bit of unexplainedness there.
I was under the impression that he was able to do that because he had basically had such a sufficient amount of love of friendship that the whole it was so sufficient that it manifested in a physical form with his wings. But none of the other changelings had that. So
changelings do this. Okay.
So it seemed like I can buy it, but it's a little bit of a stretch for me to buy.
I kind of thought it. Oh, sorry, go more.
Oh no, you go.
Well, I mean, I just thought it might have been better. I mean, as is, I do agree that it was totally rushed, but I mean, I thought it could have been pulled off, if they'd maybe gone for a domino effect of Thorax, maybe reaching out to some of the changelings he was closest to and starting to share his love power with them, and then getting them to make the jump, and then they say, hey, this is great, do the same thing for whoever they're close to, and then domino.
Big question there. Second. Has the series even made any sort of explanation about Thorax even having friends in the hive? I mean,
I don't think they would have necessarily needed, like, that's one where, okay, if he grew up his entire life in the Hive, he would, and with hundreds and hundreds of these guys, he would probably at least get to know a few on a first name basis. Like, they probably could have even played that like kind of a sweet reveal, like, hey, this is there were changelings he grew up with or whatever.
Well, in that case, as long as it's like in the acquaintance level or lesser, then that is more believable than the friends angle.
Well, changelings don't have friends, but I mean, I'm sure even the dragons have had moments where they're like, hey, did we almost say something nice to each other? Like, touchy feely, dude.
So yeah, there was that. Another thing that I found rather annoying, and I do think that it spells some issues going forward, is they pulled out this real big dynamic between Starlight and Chrysalis about like a leader ruling with fear and everything. Personally, I think that, I mean, I can see it. To me, I think that Starlight was on a much lower scale than Chrysalis. I feel like Chrysalis is several scales up there. You know, she has a lot more folks that she's basically leading through fear. She's got her whole castle and everything. I'd say that I can see the parallel. It seems like, you know, an obvious way of the writers in the meta trying to pull some sort of connection there. And I worry for season 7, because of how this whole finale addressed both Starlight's development and her relationship to Chrysalis, I kind of fear that the 7th season's gonna maybe become this whole like venge thing again. Like, oh, you have this person out there who's like really, really angry and she's vengeful, and then in the season 7 finale she just, you know, is reformed by some odd method. Like, I fear that's what is gonna happen. And so I fear in some way that the Starlight needs development, you know, chapter has closed, and that this new chapter with, you know, a Chrysalis tension between Starlight and Chrysalis is like, it's become the new thing. And I'm like, one, I don't think that the tension there is all that merited, and two, like I said earlier, it just seems like they rushed that other chapter. So that's my opinion. Honestly, Trixie made it enjoyable. So, you know, I'm not totally complaining. Plus, I also got like 8 episodes I liked this season, so I'm content. Probably gonna get less next season, but I'm content with this.
It was like somebody pointed out in my comments section, like, okay, Starlight hasn't changed that much with the totally different character line. I'm like, well, technically she is like a totally different character, but it's less because of how they developed her and more because of the huge jump they crammed in like the last few minutes of the season 5 finale, and then to now to the season 6 opener, where like, hey, she's a sweetheart now. Nobody
But
else.
anywho, that's all I got. That's it.
Oh, okay. Because I spaced out through most of it.
Then be nice.
No, I'm being serious.
So, I mean, do you need to step out?
I'm good. I'll be fine. Don't worry.
All right.
Right.
Well, fair enough, because it is your turn to give your thoughts on the season finale.
Meh.
That all you
Have
got?
More thoughts.
Meh.
Okay, can you
As a
give
finale,
your thoughts without 3 letters?
Okay, I'll give you 3 words. It was okay.
Oh, okay.
As an episode in general, it was fun. There were a lot of points where I was like, this is a little weird. But as a finale in general, I didn't feel that angry at it. Maybe possibly because I was. Who doesn't have their headphones? Because I can hear myself.
That might just be the
Not me.
Not
miracle
me.
that is Google Hangouts.
Of course. As a finale in general, it was okay. It wasn't one of the best, but it wasn't one of the worst either. I still find that Magical Mystery Cure is one of my least favorites and still will be my least favorite. Worst parts about the episode would definitely have to be the pacing. The pacing was a little bit off for me. Like it would have been nice if they said, "Oh, we've been walking for like 3 days going from place to place." Like, or, "Hey, we need to do this, and this before we have to go there." Instead of Discord just being like, "Fuck it, Fluttershy is there."
Oh,
I can accept them cutting out the walking for days, especially since they have at least let magic be good for that. If he's going to spend most of the episode without his Discord powers.
No, I meant before Discord came into the picture. Like when Trixie and Starlight are just like, "Oh, we're here, now we're there. Oh, we're here, now we're there." Especially considering the first time we went to the town, it seemed like it took a while, like a California drive while, like going through LA traffic while. And if anybody has been to LA traffic, you know what I'm talking about.
All right, say that again. You think it took us a while to get to the point where the changelings were revealed, or what?
Another part of this episode that wasn't really that great for me was definitely how blatantly obvious the finale was going to be. Like as soon as I saw the little crystallization, I was thinking in my head, wow, either A, he's turning into a crystal pony and like all the changelings are really crystal ponies in disguise, which would be awesome but ridiculous. Or 2, they're going to do something where they have to give love instead of receive it so much. It's the other thing? Okay, yeah, I figured that one.
I guess when we first saw Thorax's new wings, I figured it was some side effect of living by the crystal heart.
Well, I would argue that season finale was a lot less predictable than last season because the first episode, Starlight runs off. Oh, I wonder if she's coming back. I wonder if she's going to realize the error of her ways. This one, at least there was a little bit more, like, you couldn't predict it coming into it from the season opener.
True.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't because
that,
it was so completely out there. I mean, what was our clue to the season finale? Black dot.
Yeah.
See,
that was our season finale.
It's gonna have something to do with changelings.
It's going to have something to do with this big black dot that's going through the sky in a straight line.
They did set up though a lot of the aspects that they made use of here, like with Thorax and Trixie and all that. I will give them some credit there.
I think the major difference between season 5
Sorry.
I think all I was going to say is that I think that what Looney just was getting at. I think the major difference between season 5 and season 6 is season 5 had an ending to the premiere and like things that followed up, and it was fairly obvious, that she was going to make a return.
Yeah.
And then with season 6, it's more like we had our guesses as to what would happen, and most of the season went against those guesses, for better or worse.
I think I found out why I have a headache.
What's up?
I didn't eat, so now I have pudding. I'm a happy person now.
Good old
Yay,
pudding.
Pudding makes everything better.
Yeah.
What kind of pudding?
It's chocolate pudding with graham crackers, espresso powder, and marshmallows.
Ooh, that sounds good. That's
How
like
can you have
coffee s'more
pudding if you don't eat your meat?
Motherfucker, I will have my pudding.
Randomly quoting songs nobody listens to anymore. Thank you.
We don't need no education.
Hey.
I would argue that we kind of do, so that we can understand each other.
That's true. But anyway, another bad thing about this finale was the fact that I felt like it was trying to be Starlight's conclusion, even though it was written in a way that made me feel like it was more like an ongoing of her time, you know? Like, instead of it feeling like this is the end of Starlight Glimmer's teachings and whatnot, it was more like this is what you're trying to do. You need to grow more. And it just felt very conflicting to me in that respect.
Honestly, like to continue on with your point, like I kind of felt like a bit like a lie to, like in the sense of like I went to like a PonyCon and I actually got to chat with like one of the people that was in charge for like season 6 about like possible improvements to like Starlight's character, or like possibly continuing on like that sort of character growth. And then going into this, it's like I like Starlight now from like the few episodes you did give us. I'm honestly kind of super peeved right now about how you even mishandled the entire season about that whole affair.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of openings you could have had. Like you weren't using the main 6 for much anything. Why even had like episodes that just were like kind of like super boring to the point of annoying, to the point of like it feeling worse than it even had to be. It just
Yeah, the build up for the finale was a little off kilter because again, like in the beginning of the season, I said that I wanted to see this character be more of a center. Maybe not every single episode, but like every other episode would be nice, you know?
Agreed.
Instead, we got every 4 episodes.
Probably not even. Like she had
Every
I'm
3.
not sure about that.
episode. Yeah, we
Got
had
3.
3 episodes in between the opening and the finale, so
That's like every 6 or 7 episodes.
yeah,
Exactly.
hey. But,
Whoa, what was that?
No idea.
Now I have been calmly like saying what's bad about this episode. What really pissed me off, what really got my gears grinding, is the Lion King 2 ending.
what?
I'm dead serious. As soon as I saw freaking Starlight Glimmer be like, you can change too, I've been there, I was getting a mixture of Lion King 2 and Friendship Games into one thing, but instead of Zira dying, she just runs off.
Okay, I could see that.
That's exactly what I thought. That's what pissed me off. Like it wasn't so much the fact that Chrysalis vowed her revenge towards just Starlight Glimmer. It was mostly just because it felt so much like a mixture of the Friendship Games and Lion King 2. It just felt so bland. Now, I've said it, all the things that are bad. What's good about it? What was good about this episode? 1, the comedy was really fun. I would be lying if I said when Discord said Fluttershy, like as soon as it's like Celestia, oh whatever, Luna, oh god, Twilight, but Fluttershy's there too. Fluttershy. and on that day, Fluttercord shippers were happy.
Yes. It was like the ultimate victory.
I,
The
I,
ultimate
I
victory.
loved his reaction when he's like, they took Fluttershy.
And his eyes are glowing.
And they turned into slit pupils.
Yeah, it's like, the fuck, man? You weren't even like that when Celestia and Luna kicked your ass.
Oh my god. It's like, I think we finally found a way to ignite Discord's passion. And now you will face the wrath of a god.
Second thing, it was really fun to see Luna being useful twice.
Mm.
One,
Yeah, I mean,
she
that was
actually
well
was able
utilized,
to
yeah.
warn Starlight.
Mm.
Two, she was able to give Starlight advice as she had for the at CMC, and maybe Starlight actually needed it more. And it kind of made it feel like the two sisters were actually trying to help out when Twilight couldn't, because they know that Twilight is trying to be a good teacher, but you know, she needs help every once in a while too. I guess it made the royal family feel like a unity rather than as separate entities by itself,
Yeah.
as it had for so many other episodes. Like for Slice of Life, everyone geeked out about how much they felt like a unit, like a family. Like Celestia and Luna were actually acting like a family. Luna feels here like she's a caring adult who's been through this before. Like I felt like I was having a flashback to a conversation I had with my aunt. It just felt like it cemented a unity. I really liked the idea of Klutzy Trichoniquus. That was funny.
Memorable touch there, yeah.
Like you would think that I wouldn't remember that considering how small of a thing it was, but it was just kind of like the way fake Discord was like, oh yes, I'm a clumsy Draconicus. Let's go.
They made use of that too. They didn't just put it in there as like an obligatory touch, which that was also kind of nice.
Yeah. Let's hear what else. I loved that they really touched upon Trixie as a character too, as like a friend. In the first time we see her as a friend, it's more like Starlight is being the friend and Trixie feels like the manipulator. Whereas here, it's very nice to see that Trixie is an actual person. I felt like it was better here because she was like trying to help out. It's kind of one of those moments where you're like an introvert and you're being crowded by people that's like, I need an adult. I am an adult. Okay, see you, bye.
I did think they did a good job with kind of balancing her face and heel qualities, if anyone knows those terms. Like, I mean, we get to see how she's smug and like throws shade at Discord just as much as he does her, but then she's also
Discord's like freaking inner conflict is just like, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
God damn it! Shut up, Christine! Shut up!
But we also see like her good qualities too, like how she's how she is really like affectionate towards Starlight, really values her friend there, but then also how she's like, I guess her cute is for the record is usually a face quality, and they have her like the whole thing where she wakes up in the middle of the night and like and we get to see her the minute she hears about the changelings freaking out, like the
she was a lot better in this episode than I've seen in a lot of other episodes. Let's hear what else. Thorax's involvement and kind of character arc was fun, short, and incredibly simplified, and I wish that would have been more of a thing. You know, that would have been one of those Starlight episodes where Starlight is involved with Thorax a little more, trying to help him out with Spike. But his arc in general was kind of interesting to me. how he just wanted to be something else that he clearly wasn't, but was determined to make it in a world where he particularly wants to feel loved, and he wants to give love instead of take it. And then he stands up to basically his mom and says, "Bitch, please, everyone, come share your love. I am the white stag."
Anybody think he looked like the forest spirit from Princess Mononoke a little bit?
Yes.
We're going for
Yes,
that
he
kind
did.
of angle.
I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I could see that.
The only problem, at least I found, with their new transformation. Why aren't they talking? No, really. This bothered me and my girlfriend so much. Like, why aren't they talking if they've kind of evolved? While she was just kind of focused on that, I was kind of like, maybe love speaks louder than words.
I'm done. See ya. I'm out. This is fun. I'm walking out the door now.
I'm just gonna go over here, be in this box, and pretend I didn't hear that.
Oh, come on. It was not that cheesy.
No. It wasn't cheesy. It was just, I never even heard that saying before.
Really?
No.
Actions speak louder than words. Love speak louder than words.
Yeah, like I never heard anyone ever say that.
I do, because I'm the little. I got hearts on my rump. Shut up.
I did think I remember hearing that somewhere, though. Like, love speaks louder than words. Sometimes you just know.
I don't think that he was based off of Stag Beetle, actually. As far as this episode goes in general, the writing was okay. I did feel like if I had to compare this to any other episode writing wise, it would have to be Do Princess's Dream of Magic Sheep.
How so?
It felt in quality, that felt like that was this episode or this finale. Let's see what else. Visually, I loved this episode so much. Like, I don't know why. It's not the particularly best in visuals, but it's just like the throne was cool. It made me think of something from Sauron or something. Like, it was just like a throne that Lord Sauron was like, "Bitch, come heareth. I am the demented Santa Claus. Sit on my lap."
It does remind me kind of the tip to like what's the most over the top isn't necessarily the most memorable. Like sometimes it fades together after a while. Sometimes it's just the little specific details that make it stick in your head.
Game of Thrones.
What about Game of Thrones?
The throne from Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah.
Like, it's not about the actual throne. In fact, the actual throne is rather dull. It's a bunch of swords put together. Like, that's really all it is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for those who love Game of Thrones, but that's my opinion on it.
Let's see. Watch the comments get more and more negative. Just wait here.
There's only 11 people watching. What are the odds that they watch Game of Thrones?
Visually, I thought it was awesome. It wasn't really the best, but I guess I really liked the ideas of the actual changeling headquarters morphing and changing like a changeling's like body, or the fact that there's this huge freaking throne of which is way too big for Chrysalis. Can you imagine Chrysalis looking, just sitting on that, going like, "Bitch, I'm sexy as fuck," and she looks like this tiny little gnat on a big board.
Call
I am
yourself
the ruler.
I am the ruler. Can you hear what she's saying? No, I can't.
People are gonna make so many videos on Chrysalis and how much swag she has.
All of the swag, because that throne was ballin'. Morally, I thought this episode was ambiguous. Morally, it felt ambiguous to me because there wasn't like a solid moral. It was just kind of like about the story rather than the moral. And I think part of this moral was that it was supposed to be, dude, I've been there, I've done that. So basically, friendship games. That's the moral of the story. But in reverse, like it, instead of it being, oh, I will accept you for who you are, and being, I want to be accepted. No, it's, bitch, I don't want to be accepted. I want it for myself. I will get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too. That's not my real Wicked Witch of the West voice, but it's the closest I'm going to get right now. I'll get you, my pretties, and your little fan base, too. Anyway, yeah, that's my basic take of the episode. It wasn't the greatest. I do think it's better than Magical Mystery Cure, but not so much as good as Canterlot Wedding or honestly, I think that season 5 finale was actually better. It's my favorite.
Season 5 finale is your favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, let the controversy reign.
Really?
I would
Yes.
actually consider season 5 to be the worst finale.
Same.
It's
I
down
know
there
a
for
lot
me,
of people consider it the worst finale ever. Let's move on because next up is
No, I wouldn't even say it's the worst ever. I was enjoying it perfectly fine until it took a nosedive.
For
the next one is
me, I'd say my favorite season finale still goes to season 1.
no, season 1 is
Actually, up
definitely
there
one of the
for
better
me.
ones.
I like that.
Like
one,
if I had to go by my ranking, it would be season 5, season 3, I'd say this season, yeah, number 3. Season 1 is like right there. Hi, you're so cute. You're so cute how young you are. How young and naive you are. I thought this was going to be how it all ends. Oh, you're so cute.
yeah. Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
The season 1 finale.
Oh.
But you mean like the ponies were so cute and naive because they thought the party was going to be?
No, I was talking about the writers.
It's just. But anyway, so that's all your thoughts.
That's all my thoughts. And I'm sorry if that's slightly disappointing.
That's cool. So whose turn is it now?
I think Calliope.
Okay. Overall, my feelings on this episode were pretty positive, but somewhat confused. There was a lot that I liked in it, but there was some stuff that just wasn't clicking right for me. And as I was thinking about it afterwards, I realized that a common problem in storytelling is that sometimes you get a lot of build up and then it fizzles out and doesn't pay off. Here, I felt like we had a really good payoff that wasn't adequately built up to. Like we were talking about this before, that this centers so much around Starlight Glimmer, and yet she hasn't had a proper build up over the course of the season. You know, it feels like she hasn't earned this yet, in a sense, and yet what we had in the episode was really good.
Give me 1 second, I have to do this here. Hello, Acilia now. Okay, I'm done now.
Okay. Let's see. I felt like it was kind of slow getting started. You know, it took them quite a while, it felt like, to get to the meat of the story. But there wasn't anything there that I felt really needed to be cut out. It did build up, and it all paid off later with her going back to the village, and the first dream sequence set up the second one. So I think it would have worked better if it had just been a little more concise, but you didn't necessarily need to cut anything out. I like that Starlight and the others were really smart. As soon as she realized that it was changelings, she immediately questioned everyone who showed up to make sure they were who they said they were, and then they arranged the code words, which they utilized properly. So I like that none of them fell for a really obvious trap, which would have just been frustrating for the audience, I think.
And I think this is possibly like the moment in which like little kids who would be watching the season finale would be like, didn't know that would be a trap. Should be a lot more weary about my surroundings then.
The only part that I felt they were a little too obvious was when the imposter Discord was there, and it showed him not answering the code word properly, and then they felt the need to say, "You know that's not really Discord, right?" And I felt like that line was just unnecessary, and it felt like it was hammering into the audience that, see, he didn't say the code word, so he's not the real Discord.
Comparatively, I guess that was a little more hammering it in, but
I mean, then again,
she did say it was obvious, though, to be fair.
Yeah, and it was just one line, which may have just been a throwaway for the really young viewers.
Yeah, because I'm sure that like for some of the younger audience, if they hadn't said that, then we would run into the situation where they're like, "Wait, what happened? Why were they made a Discord?"
Discord was a changeling. Those are my fan fictions. No,
My fan fictions.
Children who are young enough to have not picked up on what it meant when you didn't answer properly are probably not writing fan fictions.
Yeah.
I mean, I did still, I guess, have some fond memories of shows and stuff that used to just sort of assume I could keep up, and like even when I couldn't, because yeah, I could be a dumb kid at times, but even so, it was kind of like fun to look back on that and like to sort of, as I got older, pick it apart and then observe when other shows and stuff would do the same thing, and yeah, get to feel like I was smart after the fact. Sorry, go on though.
No, I was just trying to think about what to say next. Overall, I really liked the whole adventure inside the Changeling Hive. I liked the design for the hive. I thought there was a very good atmosphere in there. I thought that the shifting tunnels worked really well and it was visually interesting. I generally like how they got through managing without magic. For the most part, it felt like it worked pretty well. The ending worked pretty well, I think. I like the new forms that the changelings got. MLP has a bad tendency to rush the endings, and it did rush it here. Especially with, as soon as they saw Thorax's new form, every changeling immediately, just like that, said, "Okay, I'll share all my love and turn pretty colors too." I think it would have been a lot stronger if they had just drawn it out for a minute, maybe not even a full minute, but just shown like
just 5 seconds more.
Just shown like one changeling, like really considering it with a thoughtful look, and then giving it a try and sharing love, and then another changeling tried it, and then like 2 more, and so then gradually and then they all do it. I think that would have just worked better than all of them joining in immediately.
Hey guys, Pristine over in the comments just made an interesting point about this finale. We've reached the first finale without a song in it.
How about that?
Huh. You're right.
I never thought I'd care as little as I do.
I hadn't
mean,
thought
I
of that,
do
but
like-
you're right.
I mean, I do like triumphant, sort of like celebration songs, like after the hard-won battle, just like everybody breathes a sigh of relief and is like happy together in a song. But I mean, I guess this was paced up. It didn't quite play out quite like that, so I can see why they went more for just the mellow sort of an ending.
I could have made it work if they had music as part of the festival in the village.
Potentially, yeah. Personally, I don't really care, but that's just me.
Just trying to think if there's anything else. I really like that they did not reform Chrysalis, and I hope she stays as a villain. She works well as a villain, and I don't want to see her just get reformed next season.
Well, seeing how they appear to be going the same direction that they did with Starlight, I'm pretty sure that they're going to.
I hope not.
I think they are.
They might, but I really hope not.
Well,
I mean, even Starlight, I still feel like they botched her reformation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've botched Reformations. Starlight's, I thought, was the absolute worst of them all, though.
Yeah, Discord's reformation worked well, so they can clearly make it work.
This is true. Yeah. I mean, Sunset Shimmer in Equestria, well, like the moment where she actually did the change was pretty rushed, but I did think that how they worked her back from there in the next movie was pretty well done.
I think that characters such as Sunset, one thing that they did have going for them is, I guess a similar comparison might be Luna, is that they were reformed through a magical process, so there's some level of, like, well, it's just magic. Whereas, when you move to something like Discord or Starlight, you're talking about someone who has been reformed merely through words, and so it's easier to pick that apart and say just magic.
I mean, well, actually, somebody,
You believe it's magic in a young girl's heart.
Chrysalis is a character who's probably a little more prone to being evil, but I mean,
Oh,
unless
yeah.
she's just going to come back offhand a few times, it is very possible that they'll go for some kind of an arc with her, whether it's her downfall or her reformation. But I mean, let's say if they do acknowledge that, okay, yeah, Chrysalis is someone who's really, like, there's just about no way she has any business being good, they maybe could, assuming they take their time with it, pull really like an overtime sort of redemption arc that could potentially, I mean, like, it could maybe be like a certain character from Steven Universe. I won't spoil that, but I don't know, like, if just because we've never seen them actually take a long time with a reformation, like with the exception of Discord, and that's why part of the reason I thought it worked so well, like from when he first turned face to where they finally made it permanent. But I mean, yeah, I think if they took a long time with Chrysalis and had it happen over time, I could actually see myself being on board. But the thing is, they've overdosed on redemption stories so much, I'm not sure they have a good one left in them.
Oh yeah, agreed.
I would actually like to see if, say, Chrysalis went to some other changeling hive and overthrew the queen there and made those changelings follow her, and then tried to come back and like retake over her original hive.
That would
That'd
be
be
pretty awesome, yeah.
Battle of the changelings.
And then we would see like what makes these neo changelings so different then, because like what sort of specialties do these changelings have like that can make them different aside from like the whole sharing love bit and not feeling hungry?
I did like that bit where they said that changelings are always hungry. I thought that was a very interesting, and you could read a lot into that they are always hungry and they have to constantly feed to satisfy their hunger, but it's never enough. And then by giving instead of taking, they no longer feel the hunger. You can read a lot into that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just like the whole idea about like the changelings' life being that of a void. Like they tried to fill it. They tried to fill their life with something, like either if it's food or something. It almost feels like the changelings are always suppressed. That's honestly a very
push that even farther, I
brings
might have
up
said.
totally different fan fiction right there. That's what that brings up.
Yeah.
I have heard some people make the comparison, saying that the changelings can be used as a metaphor for toxic or abusive relationships.
I can definitely see that, but because it's more, but it's not like an abusive relationship, like say with Jasper and Lapis Lazuli, like because that's a very that's more of like an abusive addiction relationship. As far as this particular relationship, it feels more like an abusive mother.
Yeah, imagine like Chrysalis is like the emotionally abusive mother, and the changelings have grown up in this toxic environment, and this is all they've ever learned. But then when they learn how to have a healthy relationship, they can become something beautiful. And I have to say, I do like the designs for the changelings. They look sort of like butterfly creatures now. And especially after things like the rainbow forms, I think this is a massive step in the right direction.
In comparison to the rainbow forms, though, anything is better.
Yeah, well, I mean, I
Literally
think that
anything
most
is
of like
better.
the power up, reach a new level of power forms. This is probably the best example of those we have so far. I still couldn't help I put this in my review actually. This came to mind from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Just like, remember, people like you better if you're pretty.
But yeah, as far as the abusive relationship goes, I really like that idea, and I almost wanted them to go further with that. Now that you talk about it, like if they were gonna think about it like that, I almost wanted her to get a little physical, just a little bit, and she did a little bit get physical, but not to the point where it was noticeable. Like the most you get from that physicality of an abuse is when she almost chokes him.
Ooh.
Yeah, because she was clearly hurting Thorax.
I mean, I don't know. I
That's
feel
the
like
closest we get.
I don't even know. I feel like they could have pushed that a lot further in a lot of ways. Like that's why I think that how the changelings actually changed. But yeah, I think that could have been played a lot. They could have portrayed it as some kind of a process. I mean, they were like they didn't really go the route of Starlight just gives a big speech and convinces them to completely change sides. In that she and Thorax did come up with an actual example of why they should, but then the moment they actually do, like you don't get the sense of like minds changing or like a.
It just felt like instant, like oh shit, we're all doing this, okay.
Me, I want to be the first to look like a rejected forest spirit. No, me.
I want to look like the next Pokemon. Because they do look.
Come on, become all cutie flies.
Thorax, I choose you.
I am a Butterfree.
Starlight used Rock Smash. It's not very effective.
I don't think things like Rock Smash will exist in the next game. So
Changelings use Magic Blast. Very effective.
Not very effective.
Missed. Chrysalis used Slam.
Thorax used Charm.
It's super effective. In the case of which he is super smexy. Super smexy. Super smexy.
Wild Chrysalis fled.
Yeah, but with the changeling's transformation, imagine if they had shown like one changeling thinking about it, and then sharing love with another changeling and becoming colorful, and then that changeling shared, and then a couple others shared, and then they escalated it until they were all doing it. I think that wouldn't have taken much more time. It would have taken maybe half a minute more, but I think it would have been a lot more effective.
Mm-hmm. Super effective.
No pun intended.
It's super effective. I boop with you. Boop.
Right. Apparently, Cillian just brought up that apparently they do have to tone down the violence here, so I guess this is a counter to you, or answer to your question, Crimson, that yeah, they had to cut out punches to the face in the season 4 finale.
So, in Disney, they have people die on screen, which we actually did talk. We actually are going to talk about this in a collab I'm having with Calliope.
Yeah, we were talking about how they can't show any blood on screen because that would just be horrible. I don't know.
And
I'm
your
not
boobs
saying
are
good
okay.
explanation. What I'm saying is blame Hasbro.
Blame the Hasbros.
We like
Blame
to
the
do that a
censors.
lot.
You know, I prefer to just blame A&Y.
Fair enough. I can accept that answer. Actually, I don't
Hmm.
think I know nearly enough about ANY to say anything about him, but
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry, ANY. We don't know you that well. Please talk in the chat more.
Well, I think he
I
prefers
do.
to be blamed for things because every time I've seen someone say hi hashtag blame ANY, he's like, yes, blame me.
I
it
love how
makes
you're
him
saying this
stronger.
with like the fakest accent in the world.
Yeah.
Right after Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins.
But Julia Roberts is British.
Yeah,
I said Dick Van Dyke, not Julia Roberts.
Yeah, you did.
you said.
I
Wait,
That
did you say?
Julia Roberts.
Wait, did you say and Mary Poppins or in Mary Poppins?
said like Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins.
Oh,
Oh,
it
it
sounded like you
sounded
said
like you said and.
like you were talking
Mary's
about
fine
both of
in that
them.
movie. But
Because it was Cockney.
that
Oh
would
my gosh, it's Cockney.
have been funny
I'm
if I
such an
had like a
uncultured
triple
fool.
pants
I'm
moment.
Cockney.
Like that would have been a funny triple pants moment. Though, like, okay, the actual British person's accent goes all over the place. It's not. The actual Caballerion doesn't even have close to a Caballerion accent.
That's what the accent's supposed to be. I always thought it was Cockney.
Yeah, I think Dick Van Dyke is supposed to be Cockney.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Cockney.
actually, I think if you, to the untrained ear, I'm sure he doesn't sound that far removed from a Cockney accent. And I guess it's just, well, even I only took one class on voice and movement, and Cockney was not emphasized very much. So, yeah, I guess just like, I mean, from what I can tell, basically the thing is he just almost overplays it.
I think I'm gonna steal a quote and change it a little bit. So, welcome back to the Cafe Cast, where we occasionally talk about ponies.
Okay, well, I can finish up now because I've said pretty much everything I have. One thing I would like to finish up on is I would like to give major props to the writers for just taking a gamble and trying something different. This is so different from any other two-parter we've had with the way it shifts the focus. And for the most part, I think it worked out. There were a few issues I had with it, but I want to give them props just for not doing the same formula over and over again.
I'll give them props for trying because you're so pretty.
I mean, I think that they came up with their own thing here that worked pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely something new, and I hope that the writers do in fact push towards like newer things, as we are now getting into this new age of, hey, we're allowed to have lesbians and gay couples and transgendered people on the screen that will have more violence and more talking about these serious topics and more storytelling.
And then Crimson
Because
announced
I'm
her
so
run
sick
for
and tired of people saying, sorry.
No, I'm kidding. But go ahead.
I'm so sick and tired of people saying that cartoons are just for kids.
It's all because of like how society has made cartoons to be, from creating them from like the cinema back in the earlier 1900s, and then like sort of like trying to make it into like cheap animations just to entertain kids. Like that's really like why cartoons are treated just for kids, because what the higher ups wanted to do was to make like lazy attempts at like making money off of like children's programming like this, instead of like putting
But here's
effort
the
into
thing.
it.
I
Whenever
kind
I
of have
see-
to head out.
Okay, bye.
unfortunately.
Well,
Peace.
it's good hanging with you.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Plan.
other? Do you have any other thoughts you'd like to share before you go?
I mean, I guess my only last thought to share is that I'm kind of indifferent to whether or not the show continues. Like, if I get another season, my thought is generally great. I might get another couple good ones. And then I'm also kind of like, if the show ends, I'd also be happy. So I'm pretty indifferent at this
Gotcha.
point. Anywho, peace out.
Peace.
Bye,
Talk to you.
bitch.
Have a good day.
You do the same.
Mhm.
Get out a new video.
You know he's gonna really hate you for that one.
Also, you do know that his sub count alone quadruples yours.
I know, but he was like the first person, one of the first people I talked about my channel with.
Oh,
I consider him like my mentor, so giving him shit is part of my deal. So
So
I don't
so
give a
now
shit.
this is gonna be like that, yeah, student that drives their teacher nuts all year, breaking every rule, and then at the end it's like, thanks for a great year. You're the best teacher I ever had.
Mhm.
But anyway, I'm so sick and tired of hearing how, adult live action shows are just so incredibly developed and edgy. And I'm like, really? Just because they have Barney talking to Robin and being like, yeah, this isn't working? Just because that guy is saying Coral a lot? Just because they're having incest and what is that sound?
I mean, some live action shows have stepped it up pretty well, but okay, if we have Fuller House making a comeback, and I mean, okay, yeah, you people need to step back and think before you say that okay, the real programming is all in the shows that target adults.
Or
I mean, like I've always said, it's possible to be great at any level. Like I can even see the argument, in spite of how many shows for kids with an edge to them there are, I can see the argument for, okay, wanting to give kids the options with shows that target the really young demographic, the youngest of them. But even then, you can create something that is great and totally worthwhile for them. Like look at My Neighbor Tortoro. Look at The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Like those. What do you the target age for that? Maybe like 4 or 5 years old.
Gargoyles.
Even. Yeah, well, Gargoyles is more for like
Batman animated series.
10, 12, like 13. I'm talking about the stuff that targets specifically like 3, 4, 5-year-olds. Even then, you can do something great. Even then, there are different levels.
Yeah, you don't need to be edgy or you don't even need to push the envelope in order to be really good quality. Look at something like Sesame Street. That's one of the greatest shows ever, and it's aimed at 3-year-olds.
Exactly. What do you?
Cyber Chase honestly is like one of the
Oh my
greatest,
god, Cyber Chase, that was my shit. Oh, Growing Up Creepy.
Growing Up Creepy, yeah. It's like we can't forget about
gosh.
Discovery Kids shows. I mean, like seriously, like Time Warp Trio was easily the best for me when it came
Hell
to.
yes, Time Warp Trio was my shit.
It was like it wasn't even like edgy, even though it involved a lot of stuff about death when it came to time
And the art
travel.
style was pretty edgy.
Oh,
like it was literally edgy. It was based off of the actual covers of each of the Time Warp Trio books, and the Time Warp Trio books were very etched and very sharp.
Want any popcorn, Looney?
Sure. Also,
Still
heads
on
up.
Yay! I finally got somebody to eat popcorn.
We should probably make sure to wrap this up in like 20 minutes.
Yeah, Looney's been very patient waiting for his turn to talk about the
Looney,
episode.
final
Looney, I'm sorry, but we just started talking about freaking Discovery Kids cartoons, and I was like, yes.
I know. I have my popcorn
Watch the
right
rush
here.
of nostalgia. But all right, Looney, go ahead.
Okay, so I kind of like this episode, not because it makes complete and total sense or that it follows a strict logic, but because it's doing what I want the show to do. It's making the world of Equestria feel more real. Like, it didn't solely comparing Starlight's journey to like Starlight's town and this episode. This episode did way better at presenting the problem that Starlight had in her episode. I've been waiting here for so long, and I don't have my thoughts collected.
I would have thought that after talking to us ramble for 40 minutes or more than 40 minutes? How long
That's
have
all
we
right.
been
We
talking?
stuttered a lot too, I'm sure. Give the space.
So
How long have we been doing this? Jesus.
We started
over
under 2 hours ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh, it's been 2 hours? Holy shit!
Almost, not quite, but that's why Looney's been waiting so patiently for his turn.
So sorry, Looney. I want to give you a hug, but I'm still mad at you.
Oh, okay. So, like it makes the world feel more large because in Starlight's episode, it was just a town in the middle of nowhere that we had never heard about, and we didn't really hear much about it afterward, other than, hey, Starlight's going back there. Whereas the Changeling Hive, it's an entire civilization, and the episode itself has relied on multiple episodes. Thorax's episodes, Starlight's journey throughout the entire season, the Changelings from back in friggin' how long ago?
Season 2.
So I feel that this episode draws upon a lot more and just gives the feeling of more of a grandiose world.
I'm with you on that
really
one.
like
I love episodes that do world building, so I'm with you on that.
This is probably the biggest world building episode in the entire season, though.
I mean, one criticism I've heard of the world building is that, like, okay, the first couple of seasons there was implied to be a lot out there, like it could be anything. Who knows what's different out there, and then like some of the stuff they revealed, it's almost played really casually, like but they're I don't know, they go to a different place, and then the rules are oftentimes the rules are pretty much the same, or just it feels like they're almost too big to be impressed. Like, you know, it's portrayed as it's almost just what they do now. Like, they can go anywhere and it's no big deal, and it's like nothing to be particularly impressed by, with a couple exceptions like Griffinstone. It's hard not for that to turn a couple heads. But I think like something like this, though, that giving off maybe even a sense of the unknown, like, okay, the changelings are in this deserted field with this stone that makes it so, okay, nobody can mess with them on their territory, and in the middle of nowhere. I mean, that's a little more like makes you almost have a need to know what else is out there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I did the best job explaining what my problem with the other stuff is, though, but I mean, basically, instead of like a sense of discovery when we went to other places, it's very often just a sense of like, and appearing on stage next, it's
Yak Yakistan. Look at them destroy everything in Ponyville.
Exactly.
Yak Smash!
This is not Yakistan Snow! Yak Smash! Oh, come on!
Okay, the Yaks were really annoying, but we've gotten a lot of comedy mileage out of them.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I suppose, much like what those things that nobody likes but makes for really good memes. Chris Bores with his terrible coming up to a door every second and screaming at the guy, and then the meme where they have him yelling at all the most popular meme internet characters until he finally, the last one is Chuck Norris, who punches him out.
Of course it has to be Chuck Norris.
Chris Bores is the irate gamer, to those of you who don't know. So, getting punched in the face by Chuck Norris, I'm sure many of you wanted to see that. Anyway, other final thoughts from Looney.
There was a comment just recently put onto the stream. Surely relying on a load of stuff that's already been established makes the universe less grandiose, if anything. It's not just that they focused on some of the old stuff that I feel it makes the world feel more large. It's that they also introduced some new elements like the Changeling Hive that we've never been to, and I think that combination is what I really like seeing from this show, because it's a fantasy world. When we were introduced to it, we were told about two sisters, and one was banished for 1,000 years. Like, that story you can read so deep into, and you can enjoy the depth of the world. And this episode kind of brings back that wonder about the world of Equestria.
Wonderful world of Equestria.
Because it's a whole new world.
A whole new world.
A brand new place I've never
I
seen.
don't know
I
the
still
rest
mess
of
up
it.
that way after 14 years.
Well, that just fizzled out.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was too much noise going on, bro. There's too much.
Stream
All right.
couldn't handle it.
From the top, everybody clear your singing voices. And the one. And I'm sorry.
Ah! So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I like the episode. Don't think everything made sense, but I can excuse how the changelings got the main six. It happened off screen. I don't know if they were clever or stupid in capturing the main six, but since they didn't show it, I can't really judge how well that was executed. I find it a bit strange that all of the characters just somehow knew where to go. Just all of them appear right at Trixie's tent. Also, why was Trixie in Ponyville? Hasn't she been run out of that town already?
Nah.
Well, I can accept that Trixie was visiting Starlight. Who knows? Starlight may have even... We don't know how much time passed between getting the invitation and going to the village. So if some time passed between the invitation coming and her going, she could have written a letter to Trixie and said, hey, come visit me so we can go to this thing together.
Actually, yeah, that was my mistake. I was more talking about when they all meet up in the forest. I forgot Trixie's the one that kind of helped Starlight get back home. So yeah, that's why she's there.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess
and
more than...
And Thorax was coming to ask Twilight for help because Cadence had been taken, so he was coming to the palace for that reason.
But why did he go in the tree? Like, why did he go into the forest or wherever?
He probably sensed the lack of love.
It's dramatic.
He was probably hiding out so that no one in Ponyville would see him for fear that the sight of him might cause a panic.
Yeah.
The only one I think whose arrival doesn't make sense is Discord.
Well, okay, I excuse
To be
his
fair, though,
because he's
Discord.
Discord.
Well, they did say he can sense like when something
he's
is
falling off the moon.
powers are changing or whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, I can believe he has ways of sensing that, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess like just it's my thing. Like, I guess
that or God of Chaos, he doesn't have to make sense.
I guess just stripped down to its core, like my problem with other things that I could talk about aside, my problem with them, the changelings, just capturing everyone off screen with like no explanation. I mean, I always say you shouldn't really have to write your own story. You, the viewer, that is, you shouldn't have to write the story you're watching. It's like, hey, come to this restaurant and bring your own food. Like, okay, the thing is,
but on the other hand,
instead of engaging you, just let me get this out, and then you can bring your counter. Just like, okay, but like I guess at the core,
going to say on the other hand, there are Korean barbecues.
All right, fine. Now then, at the like basically, other than making you want to go on about how this is stupid or it totally couldn't happen. Just like at its core, instead of engaging you by showing you how this happened and like what the story of how this thing that hasn't happened yet is now becoming reality, they're taking you out of the moment by making you stop to question it and know that there technically is no right answer because they haven't given you any link to one. So,
I think it was really smart of them not to show the abduction. Like I said before, if they had shown the abduction, I don't think there's any way they could have shown it that wouldn't have had everyone calling foul and pointing out plot holes or whatever.
Well, they could just have
But-
all of the characters sleeping, and then that's how they're abducted.
Yeah, but I think
but that
it
seems
works.
like a cheap
they
shot.
sleep every night. It's like, I mean, you'd think
I
they
think
would
it
have had
wor-
something set up for that.
I think it works fine to leave it shrouded in mystery. I don't care if they don't explain everything. And I can accept that the changelings disguised themselves as servants and chloroformed the princesses in their sleep.
Also, at the same time, our main character, like Starlight Glimmer, was the focus of this episode. She didn't see the main six get replaced, or Cadence, or Twilight, or or Luna and Celestia. Sorry, I forgot their names.
Well,
for a second.
technically Luna, because she was being taken actively by the changelings in the dream world.
Yeah,
Just
so
like
she only
she
was only able to see that in a dream.
a
So
bunch of
I think
runs.
that it kind of has to do with their who was the focus of the episode. We only know what Starlight knows.
Yeah, but to get to making her the focus of the episode, that does seem like a bit of a rush point of contrivance. I mean, granted, if they plain and simply couldn't think of a good explanation, then I guess leaving it in mystery would be the better option. But if they thought of something really clever, then okay, a few people who were going to pick it apart, let them. I think that would have gone over really well.
I just think for the writer's case, like they wouldn't think that far ahead as to like think of something complex to explain like how the changelings took over. I mean, we don't even get an explanation for how Cadence was taken the first time. Remember?
Well, that,
Not really.
I mean, is easier to assume because she wasn't even in charge of anything at the time. You could argue that she was just another figure in Equestria, and they show you some of how Chrysalis has to go about replacing her, like how she's able to get away with this for as long as she has. And I mean, it's not a glaring contradiction to what was already established, which is in this case that the princesses have been able to, with their current setup, maintain power for thousands and thousands of years without the common points of vulnerability changing that. Like, okay, they sleep every night. They haven't been overtaken by some army yet. Are you going to keep laughing or are you going to say it?
Dream Black Hood says, geez, Shining is handsome and everything, but nope, I wouldn't marry him.
All right.
Someone else in the comments up above posted something about there being changelings still in Ponyville, and that is a point. The changelings who were impersonating Twilight and Cadence and Celestia and all were not present at the Hive when all of this happened. So Chrysalis could go round them up and say, the Hive has fallen, come with me and be my backup now for future endeavors.
Maybe that'll come up in the future. Or maybe the
Hopefully.
main six went over and just sent them back to the Changeling Hive.
Why do I get a horrible feeling that they're just going to be like, no, they just came back while Starlight and Discord and those guys were invading the Hive.
Which I wouldn't make
that's going to be the case.
No, I feel like if they did that, it would not be possible because Discord teleported them to the front of the castle, and no matter what sort of explanation you might say, if the Changeling Empire was so close to Equestria, that would just be like, then why did no one discover it in the first place? Like, there's no way you're going to be able to legally explain that. And if they even do try to explain that, it will be the biggest plot hole ever. Not even the whole kidnapping thing that people have an issue with will be as big of a problem as this.
We have received word that your explanation is illegal. We will have to take you to story writing jail.
Yep, you're going to jail, say.
No.
You fucked up, sir.
But in spite of how much flack I give this episode, though, for that point, I actually really liked it. Like, think it's up there with the very best of the season. Like it, because I mean, just I think Calliope brought up before the point of just how intelligent a lot of the writing is. Like getting into how they sidestep a lot of the changeling traps and how both sides. I mean, it doesn't feel like just a set list of events one after another before they get to the climactic face-off. It feels like two parties like actively working to get the best of one another, and each, I think, one important thing, like each face-off that happens in what happens next is a direct result of how it unfolds. Like the changelings chase Trixie all over the place, and she gets away with their smoke bombs, and then they spot two of them going off to protect the queen. Then okay, so next, they follow them and to be led deeper into the hive. Like it's a pretty well thought out like that, and the character interplay along the whole way. Like I mean, I felt like Josh Haber might not have been as interested in the main six anymore. Like I don't know if he just needs to leave them alone for the sake of the movie. Like they need the movie to determine what is done with them prior to it, or what it puts out, or if he just isn't interested anymore. And I think a lot of people might side with me here. It seemed like this season was most interested in the side characters. Like,
well, I mean, with 6 seasons of the show, your main cast's going to be a little boring after a while. And I think it's good that they are changing up the focus, because it's supposed to be a show about friendship being magic. Well, why not focus on all the friendships?
I would argue not if you keep progressing them. Like
Chrysalis can also just make more babies. As far as we know, she doesn't need a male, and thus just reproduces asexually.
It's possible. We'd need a couple of years to pass then, yeah. But
that's honestly like just a theory, and even like then that's like fan.
A pony theory.
That's just a theory, a fan theory.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I would argue like they don't have to get boring though if you keep progressing them. Like if they stay the same, just stay in place, and you keep doing the same things, then they're going to get old. But I feel like a constantly like a journey that's constantly happening can be, in theory, interesting the whole way. But that all said, I feel like okay, if that's how they felt, then yeah, it was probably a good idea to focus on characters like this for a change. I feel like it actually did a much better job than say Slice of Life, for example. I felt like they really created a good group dynamic here and really made them feel like your heroes, like the ones you're invested in here, and how they reacted off each other. There was a lot of fun to be had with that. Like Discord and Trixie were a lot of fun, especially they were the show stealers. But then even Starlight, I will say with Starlight, like I felt that, okay, the season did not get to this point, or did not progress her to a point, like any particular final stepping stone. It sounds like we all agree more or less. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's not the best season finale, but it's, as a season finale and an overall episode, I think it was just okay.
Well, I mean, that said, though, like even though they didn't progress Starlight to any point in particular in the prior episodes, this is instead of just like repeating themselves with okay, turning the focus to okay, now that she's had some back and forth experiences here, is she ready to maybe step up and even put her talents to use, be a leader? How she wasn't expecting that to be asked of her at the beginning, and it freaked her out. Like, okay, that is actually, I think, a fair enough problem for her to be dealing with at this point. So I feel like Starlight, she might actually suffer more for the episodes leading up to this than for this episode itself. Even though that's still probably a chance they could have had to really push this over the top that they passed on. But anyway, I feel like that all aside, that they kind of made how she sort of grows into the role is fun here, how she masterminds a lot of this and motivates the group while still like bearing in mind that she's not necessarily the sweetest character in the show, how she like flips out at them a couple of times and lectures them, and kind of joins in teasing Discord with the klutzy Draconiquist thing. Like, little touches like that I think all helped. It's just for the point at the beginning with how the changelings took out everyone with no explanation. That I thought was distracting, and how the changelings just instantaneously changed sides at the end that I thought was distracting. Like, I guess for Thorax and Starlight's thing by itself, is somebody moving something around, by the way? We're getting a lot of noise.
I dropped my pen a second ago, but...
Sounds like whatever. Never
Apparently,
mind.
he dropped his accent too.
Yes, I don't know how to be Eton anymore.
But
Just since we did bring up side characters and slice of life, I would like to say I think that this is how you do a derpy cameo. There was a reason for her to be there. She was entertaining and she wasn't distracting.
good
Muffins?
point,
Muffins?
yeah, well, slice of life, since it was pretty scattershot anyway, I did think as a character, she and the Doctor were actually made one. And grab Rose by the cheeks was pretty funny.
Yep.
Who are you?
Oh, sorry guys. I stepped away and I thought I muted my mic, but I actually muted you.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It was only a couple seconds, so we're fine.
Well, we were just laughing about the slice of life, so I guess no, I'm done.
Yeah. So I actually have to go in a minute here.
All right.
Want to wrap up?
Okay, going around for final thoughts. I would say I did think this is a fairly great two-part. Like, not my favorite, but I do think it's, as finales and two-parters go, I did think it was better than Crystal Empire, definitely better than Magical Mystery Cure, which, that's polarizing, but I'm on the nay side there. Better than Princess Twilight, and probably better than either of the two-parters in season 5, though I guess.
I thought Princess Twilight was a premiere.
Yeah,
I'm saying two-parters and finales go.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's like my core favorites, it's not quite there, but I think that, well, for one, there are points to pick apart in any two-parter. I mean, they all become a little, almost all of them anyway, become a little unwieldy. But this one, I mean, it only, well, on one hand, only really those 2 points for me. On the other hand, they are big points, but that aside, while I guess it doesn't quite, like, nothing quite pushes it over the top into my very favorites, I feel like this was kind of an overachiever. It managed to be a lot of fun and pretty well written for the most of the way through. So.
As for me, I would have to say, like, this episode easily is my favorite two-parter, favorite finale, favorite episode of season 6. Basically, kind of cements Starlight, not as, like, one of my most favorite characters, but certainly on the more favorable side now. I mean, I did find her more relatable due to her last episode before this, but with this episode, it's like, it's even more similarities I feel about, like, her anxiety, or like her trying to, like, come to grips with, like, the idea of, like, trying to take over, like, an operation, just and, like, it doesn't even know, like, what to even do next, like, literally, like, super panicky, like, it honestly feels a bit more realistic than, I don't know, say, like, the first premiere, which Twilight was a bit more composed there, so it can make sense why Twilight felt that way. But for Starlight, she felt like someone who had no idea what she was getting herself into, or what the changelings gotten themselves into, with, like, essentially just leaving her around with, like, these unexplainable elements together, and just forming, like, the creation of a group there, in which I honestly feel like Pony Suicide Squad. We finally reached to that point. We finally got, like, some of, like, the
Suicide Squad.
Yes.
Probably better story than Suicide Squad too.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Okay, so Trixie is Harley Quinn.
Mhm.
Starlight Glimmer is Will Smith.
Oh yes.
Fair enough.
I'm going to say that Discord is the Boomerang Man.
Everyone's gonna want him to be Joker, even though he wasn't really in the squad.
No, I
No,
wouldn't
he
call him
wasn't in the
Joker.
squad.
Hey,
And
second.
then
No, no.
Thorax. Thorax is Diablo.
Yes, Diablo.
Hey, second. Want to have a kind of after show? Like, we quickly wrap up our thoughts so I can get out of here, and then you have an after show where you keep.
I gotta go after this too.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so people who have to go, like Crimson Looney and then Calliope.
Okay.
Let's hear. Overall, this episode, as a finale, it's not one of the best. As an episode, it's okay. I love the comedy in this. It was really fun. The characters were written well. The with this is what I have with most of the villains, which is that maybe not all the plans are thought through. Like every single one is not thought through. Like really, the only one that we got to have like something thought through was probably Sombra or Tyrek. But that's about it. And even then, they were just kind of like, oh shit, I forgot about this one possible thing that could have happened.
Yeah, well, for having to think on her feet, Nightmare Moon did, I guess, fairly well for herself. Like, okay, she prefers to avoid a direct confrontation, so she tries to throw them off a ton of different ways. But then when push comes to shove, she will have one and almost takes their footing out from under them that way.
Yeah. So visually it was great. Comedically it was great. I loved all the characters. I loved the ideas. Not the best finale, but definitely not one of the worst.
Fair enough.
My turn?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I liked the episode overall. I thought there was a lot of good in it. It was very entertaining. It was pretty smartly written. I think that the problems I had were not actually with this episode. The biggest issues I had was that the season didn't lead up to it very well. But that's not really something to hold against this specific episode. That's more of a general criticism. So overall, I would say good. I liked it.
All right. And Looney.
I enjoyed this episode. It was a good episode, and you should feel good for watching it.
Are you going to use that voice the entire time?
Yes, I'm just going to be as pompous as I
Turtle.
can. Oh, okay.
You do a
so it
really
was a
good
nice
NPC
episode.
impression.
Turtle.
I like the episode. It has its flaws, but overall it was pretty good. Hey, Looney, what do you think? Oh, there were ponies, and they did the thing. Heck good.
I mean,
Okay,
what more
get
could
out of
you
here.
need?
Turtle.
Turtle.
Final thoughts on this episode. Happy, joy,
Happy joy, joy. Happy joy. Happy joy,
Thanks for backing me up there, Unova.
No problem. Second.
All right. Anyone else, or everybody ready to sign out now?
Take our silence as a yes.
Yes.
Boop. I boop
Susan
everyone.
says
Boop,
boop.
boop, 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 boop.
Combo boot breaker.
Combo poop breaker.
Bonus round. Boop, 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 boop. Car explodes. Yeah.
All I want to do is boop, 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 and I think boop, and take your money. All I want to... Please sign out now.
All right, let's go before we keep going.
She's dead.
All right. So this has been the Cafe Cast. Hope you all enjoyed, and it was live. That was different.
Never do this again.
Bye.